going on, everybody? I'm Muskoka Rider here. I was just going to go over some of the basics as far as setting up your helmet is concerned. If you guys are interested in doing any video recording while you're riding, some of the key components that you got to think about, image quality, placement of the camera on the helmet, and then most important, I would say, is audio quality. So when it comes down to it, you've got some decisions you got to make. We got to talk about camera selections, right? So I've got a couple different types of cameras. I've got the Hero Session 5. This is one of my primary cameras that I like using on the helmet. The reason I like it is because it's so small and it's so compact. It doesn't detract from what it is that I've got going on as far as the aesthetics of my helmet, and it's a little bit more inconspicuous, so people don't necessarily see this big ass camera on my face when I'm riding. This camera I'm going to be using actually on the bike, on the handlebars, using it to kind of look back at me. When you're choosing how to mount your camera onto your helmet, the placement of the bracket, I'd say, is pretty important. So in this particular instance, I've mounted this helmet bracket on the forehead because this has got a hidden visor inside the helmet, so it's not going to interfere with the camera the way that, when you're looking at the Shoei helmet, the way this is configured, the visor is going to prevent you from actually putting a camera up on top or on the forehead. You could manage to get a camera up top, but I'm not a big fan of the camera sitting way up high. I feel like the person watching your video is going to potentially feel a little disconnected from it all because the camera's so out of perspective relative to what you would normally see when you're on the bike. So I liked the setup on the chin, and when it comes down to it, in both instances, no matter which helmet I'm using, it stays incredibly low profile. And I'll give you an example of what we're talking about here. So there's the first scenario where you've got a chin mount. You still have great line of sight over the helmet, a lot of visibility. When I actually put the helmet on, I can see the camera just, I can catch it through my peripheral vision, but it's not interfering with my line of sight at all. And, depending on the way that I'm situated on the bike, I can adjust these levers to position the camera so that it's at least parallel to the ground and giving good relative line of sight of where we're going. Because if you're on a sport bike, you're going to be leaning forward, but if you're on a cruiser, you're going to be further back, and you might want to adjust the angle of the camera. Then that's in a chin mount. And then if we look at the other configuration where we go with the forehead mounting position, see, I didn't even have to change the camera's orientation. I was able to go directly into the helmet. And then when I've got this helmet on, this is also just in my peripheral vision, but it's not in my direct line of sight. And from a riding perspective, visually, it's going to appear like the person is seeing exactly what I'm seeing when I'm riding. And I can really tuck this in nice and tight and keep the profile of the camera very low. And now I still have full access to using my visor, and the camera's right there at basically eye level. This is my favorite setup, this one right here. In this particular instance, I didn't have to do anything fancy. I was able to just use the double-sided tape because the contour of the helmet very closely matched the contour of the clasp mechanism. On my Shoei helmet, there was some variations in the shape of the chin versus the shape of the plastic piece. So I actually had to use some of this moldable glue, the Sugru. This was amazing. So you just kind of peel that out of its, they're individually wrapped in little packages. You just peel it out, like pull it out, it feels like plasticine. Warm it up in your hands. Just apply the bead of it underneath the plastic. Press this into position and get the Sugru to sort of mold to the shape of the helmet. And then I just got a little bit of water on from a cup, dipped it in my finger, and then smoothed out the edges. Clamp it in position, let it dry for 24 hours, and then this is rock solid. Like, you're not going to lose your camera. It is so strong, you will not be able to separate that from the helmet, not easily. Certainly not by just the weight of the camera. Anyhow, so that's for the video setup. The next obviously is going to be audio. Audio is super important. We'll do that in a separate video. If you found this helpful, go ahead and hit the like button. If you like what I've got going on, you can subscribe to my channel. Going to be doing a lot more content videos, a lot of riding videos. Looking forward to having a great summer with all of you guys. This is Muskoka Rider, and I'm out. What's my name? What's my name?